technology to keep you on the road. Call 330-9185 and schedule an appointment today.
From the Hertine and Stalker Studios in the heart of the Hawkeye Nation, this is the mighty 1630 KCJJ, Iowa City.
Here is your KCJJ forecast today. Mostly cloudy, a few off and on showers here through the day. Today we're talking maybe a tenth of an inch of rain tops. Our high 56. Wind will be north, becoming northwest at 5 to 15. I think we will see a little sunshine later this afternoon into this evening, so maybe a little grilling weather here later tonight. Partly cloudy tonight, 40 tomorrow. Some sun in the morning, then mostly cloudy, a few showers with a high of 56. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. Right now, it's 52.
Weather brought to you by the Westport Touchless Auto Washes. All Hawkeyes is brought to you today by Premier Auto in North Liberty. Hit a deer, call Premier. Hawkeye Title and Settlement with Steve Anderson and his crew. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for Cars. GT Car and Supple Siding and Remodeling. Sittler's LED Supplies. 1-800-800-ROSE. The Ox Yoke Inn. Zephyr's Printing and Design and Imprinted Ink on the Pedmall. And Big Dog TV and Internet, serving all of eastern Iowa with Dish, Direct TV, Internet, and more. Don't call an 800 number. Call local. Call the Big Dog at 338-6600.
Go big or go home, Jim.
That's right. There's the voice of our general manager and sports aficionado, Tom Suter. And with us from allhawkeyes.com, Mr. Pat Hardy.
Pat would be our expert today. You are our expert, Pat.
Yeah, we don't have Steve today to give us the
that's right.
Cutting insight that he has.
That's right. I forgot about that.
I deleted the video. The camera's moved. The battery's fine. Leave us alone.
Who's he talking to?
Steve.
He's gone and he's texting Tommy to do all the stuff that we know how to do because he's an old grandfather.
So he's not really taking a day off.
No, he can never take the day off. He can never just disconnect from us. He's got to,
even though he's miserable and wants to retire.
Yes, even though.
Grassley.
There we go.
How's Grassley doing?
Oh, he's
a crypt keeper. God, he's just awful. He looks awful.
Didn't he used to come on here a lot?
He did.
Yeah,
but he kept bashing the President Obama when you'd ask him a question on how's your day going today, and Steve just finally got tired of it.
Oh.
And then when
I wanted to pull the plug a year and a half before he did.
Yep, and then when he finally refused to have a hearing with Merrick Garland, I think that was the last one.
So now you've got a press conference outside because the Democrats walked out.
They did.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, and Jeff Flake, the Republican senator from Arizona, changed his. He was undecided. He said he was going to vote to confirm. He's getting on the elevator, and two protesters go right straight at him. And women just crying, going, I was raped. Look at me in the eye and tell me that doesn't matter. And he just wouldn't say anything.
The whole thing is just, we're a disaster right now politically. We really are.
For sure.
Yep.
I mean, we really are.
No argument.
Because I'm comfortable in saying that if everything was reversed, it would be just the same. Just the roles would be reversed. Don't you think? Absolutely. If this was a Democrat, if Kavanaugh was a Democrat, they'd be doing the same thing the Republicans are, and the Republicans would be doing the same thing the Democrats are.
Yes,
because that's what we basically are now.
I agree with you.
Everything is political narrative and agenda and pushing your ideology because that helps you in your livelihood. They're so connected to each other now, and
I agree with you, except we're going to be stuck with this guy for 25 years.
Well, no, I agree. He's my age. I mean, that's the only time. That's the only good thing about this is. When they keep, oh, God, this guy could be on making decisions for the next 40 years, that sort of makes me feel like I'm still kind of young, I
got a text from Steve. He wants Hunter to shut up.
Of course he does.
Well, why don't you just have him call in and we'll just have him on?
Yeah, I just have him call in.
Is he hearing?
And just text his little pithy one-liners.
Hey, let's just play a bunch of music since he's not here. Why don't we start with Kashmir? We'll go Kashmir and then... I'm thinking of another. Oh, we could do Low Sparks of High Heel Boys. That's long.
We could.
That's long.
I'm sorry, we only have the first three Led Zeppelin albums.
John Barleycorn Must Die would be good.
That'd be good.
We do have both of those traffic songs.
I mean, that would get through 15 minutes right there.
Yeah, I'm Your Captain by Grand Funk.
Get that.
That's 10 minutes.
Those three songs, A Call from Dirk, boom, there's an hour and a half. We're done. What do you think?
I like it.
And Adam Haleska, so there's another couple minutes. We'll be good.
Look at this. This is getting ugly. This is getting nasty. I mean,
yeah.
I remember the Clarence Thomas stuff. I was just out of college.
Yep.
This is worse.
Oh, this is a lot worse.
This is worse.
Yeah,
But it just also shows we haven't come very far.
No, and one thing Kavanaugh said yesterday is absolutely true. This is going to prevent good people from wanting to be nominated as a Supreme Court justice.
Yeah.
Because they're going to go back and say, hey, in fourth grade, you will put paste in Susie's hair.
No, you're right, though. That is.
But it's going to also keep women from coming forward to saying I was raped.
That's another part of it. And the one thing I have, and then we'll get off politics because we're not. It's not why we're here. But I guess in a situation like this, you can talk about anything. I was just surprised at how upset he got, and the fact that he turned it political. A guy going for a Supreme Court seat that's supposed to be completely detached. He turned it so political, and I'm saying to myself, my God, but that's all this comes down to. The reason those people are pushing him is because he will give the conservatives their edge on the Supreme Court.
That's it.
They will eventually overturn Roe versus. That's all this is. Mm-hmm. And it's like everybody knows that, but then we go through all this crap because that's what all these politicians need to go through this crap because that's what they do for a living. I mean, that's what this is. This is all just ideology, and they're using all these people as pawns.
Well, and the good news, if you're a woman, you get a chance to have your voice heard on November 6th.
Yes.
Yep.
And if you vote either way you want, I mean, that's your business.
I hope we have record turnouts for this midterm election. And I honestly, I do care how you vote, but I do care more that you vote.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because that way they can say, well, it wasn't the groundswell. It was only a 30% turnout. I wanted 80% of the registered voters out there.
But that's what I was just. I'm like, wow, he's actually going there, and he kept going there. Then he finally brought up the Clintons.
Oh yeah, that was
stunning because I kept saying to myself, this guy's going for a Supreme Court position where you're supposed to be completely.
And where do you think he got that from? He spent a couple of days in the White House.
Well, he got a call from Trump right before he went on the. He gave him like a pep talk. So, I mean, and I know all these people on the Supreme Court, they're human, they're biased, they're all either conservative or liberals. I get all that. But they're still supposed to be able to separate the two, and he brought them together. I was just stunned. That's the part where I was like, I can't believe I'm listening to this.
Well, and I don't particularly want a person on the Supreme Court who's screaming and yelling.
Mocking.
And mocking.
He got a little, he reminded me of a lot of guys there were guys like that. Just the moment things kind of didn't go their way, and I know he's been through a lot the last week. I get all that stuff.
Yes, he has.
Yeah. But he's going for a Supreme Court job. I mean, it's not like applying for your sales position. You know, I mean, Could you imagine if somebody came down to either you're working here in sales or being on the Supreme Court? What would you say to give him, you guys, the edge over the Supreme Court? What's better here than working for the Supreme Court? That's what I'm asking.
You mean if Brett Kavanaugh applied here?
Yeah.
Well, he wouldn't.
No, I don't think
he'd come in and argue politics with you for a while.
I don't think he'd fit in here. But
no.
I think he's going to get. I do think he's going to get in. I think it's just going to happen. I think it's too important for them.
It was a given.
Yes. So
yeah.
But all right, that's my take on that.
It was a given.
Well, he wouldn't have to wear robes if he came here.
Well, he could.
I mean, he could.
You could wear whatever you. Yeah.
But it's not required.
That would be funny if he started working here and just came in every day in a robe. And anytime you gave him some suggestions on advertising, he just freaked.
I'll put it under advisement.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but did you watch much of it yesterday?
I sure did.
Yeah,
well, I listened.
It's just, yeah, I watched a lot of it, and it reminded me of Clarence Thomas, and I mean, and then you had the Watergate stuff back. I mean, just between the stuff they had with Comey this year, there's just been a lot of stuff that brings back memories.
Do you see there's a picture circulating on Twitter of a moment from the hearings yesterday.
Yeah.
Of him just Kavanaugh screaming his lungs out.
Yep.
And all the women in the background are completely horrified.
Yeah.
Was this from yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I'll show it to you after we're done here, but it just says a lot.
Sure. But this was going to happen, and it's going to happen.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I thought the part where actually the Democrat that he had actually said, "Hey, I appreciate the way you." He didn't like the way her questions went. And remember, he started asking, Did you, Senator?
Do you have a drinking problem?
That's when I was like, this guy, I'm just wondering
Shouldn't be on the Supreme Court.
Wondering about that temperament. He's a genius. Hell, I'd want him. I wouldn't mind him as my lawyer.
Oh, he's smart.
I mean, but I keep saying this is for a Supreme Court job.
He's smart. He's got the credentials. There's no question about his intelligence. I mean, none whatsoever.
Yeah, well, these guys are in power. They're going to get him in. The good thing is that...
And then that will eventually, they hope, switch Roe versus Wade, right? Isn't that what this is all about?
Yeah, that's absolutely.
We live in a country where if we don't like what's going on, we can change it with a vote. So that's... And the Democrats, even though they were in a minority, still got to have their say, and will continue to have their say.
But no, that's what I kept saying to myself yesterday. If the roles were reversed, I don't think the Democrats are any more moral than the Republicans were. Right? If the roles were reversed, it would be the exact same thing.
No, and Chuck Schumer called him evil, and that was totally inappropriate. Kavanaugh.
That's
before he was even vetted or anything. When he goes, this guy's evil, he should not be a Supreme Court justice. That's wrong.
I agree. I
agree
because there's maybe a chance that if assuming this thing did happen, it was the only time he ever did this. He got drunk. I mean, I did.
My problems with him aren't what may or may not have happened 36 years ago. My problem with him is his affect and his lack of self-control in this situation.
And for you, it doesn't help that he's ultra conservative.
No, it
either.
does not.
That does not help either.
No,
That's what it all comes down to, guys. We're all human and biased, and we've all got our political views. I'm amazed that I've been able to stay so in the middle because I've hardly ever voted. I will vote this time. I'm not voting for Trump, or I'm not. I don't.
I don't get to this.
I know. I'm just saying I'm not voting. I go into things and I don't have any affiliation with either party. Like I told you guys before, I'm probably more Republican with fiscal. But I do believe that the Republicans don't have a clue about health insurance. I'm probably more Democrat in that. But for the most part, I'm just completely stuck in the middle, sucking on all of this crap. And it's just...
Well,
Steelers wheel, stuck in the middle with you.
I think we're all part conservative and part liberal. We're not 100% either way. Yeah. Everybody's got,
for sure,
a bent on certain issues. So there you go.
For sure.
All right, sports,
and that's
court talk.
Yeah, we should start.
That's allkavanaugh.com.
Yeah. I wonder how good of a high school basketball player was. He was the captain of his high school.
I'm guessing he was probably a pretty good athlete.
I'm just curious. As somebody my age, I think my team would have kicked his team's ass. Is what I'm saying.
I'll say that.
I'm saying that right now. I think my Dowling team would have.
Colin Brett Kavanaugh out.
His little preppy Georgetown prep team.
His little lily white, privileged, rich.
Well, it's not like
it's
not like my team was straight out of the inner city or anything. But that's the other thing he kept saying. What did him being the captain of his high school basketball team have to do with anything?
He's just trying to say, hey, look, this is who I am.
I'm great.
I was number one in my class. I was blah, 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 blah. I wasn't this irresponsible, drunk, rape, sexually assaulting.
Yeah, I think some of some of the accusations, the gang raping that supposedly witnessed or was part of 10, I don't believe that. I just don't believe that. I mean,
well, she didn't get a chance to be heard, so we're never going to know for sure.
No, we're never going to know for sure. But the witness yesterday was very credible.
Very.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So obviously, one of the two of them are lying.
Yes.
Yes. Well, I think that's obvious, and that's
either that or
she's
mistaken.
Here's a good way to segue to sports. What's happening there is no different. How many times in sports do we have big controversies where it's clearly one side is lying, just like the Ohio State mess?
Yeah.
All the Penn State nonsense.
Yeah.
I mean, Dottie Sandusky still says her sick freak husband is innocent and that it was a conspiracy to get, hey, let's conspire. Let's turn Jerry Sandusky into the world's worst child sex offender and bring down the Penn State football program. Who would conspire to do that?
Yeah.
I mean... But that's another one of those. It's a he said, in Sandusky's case, it's a he said versus they said, and it's just, but that's what this comes down to. And this happens a lot in sports.
Yep. Well, and how many times we look at a call and we look at it 5 different ways and half the people who are watching it say it goes one way and half the people say it goes the other way.
Call? What do you mean?
Like on a close
on a
call or something.
I thought you were talking like a call on the phone.
Yeah, pass interference.
Right.
Yeah.
Or in baseball, a safer out call, something like that. I mean, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
So speaking of which, the Cubbies are in.
Yes, they are. And it was they were showing on Twitter Wednesday night. The Cubs, they won, and they were guaranteed a playoff spot. The Brewers, first time in 7 years in. The post-game celebrations both of them got into the playoffs at the same time. Brewers are going crazy. Cubs are just all business. They didn't even half of them didn't even know they made it in.
Yeah,
they're worried about winning the
3
division.
games.
Yeah, I want them to win in the division.
Yeah, 3 games to go. They're up by 1 because they do not want to play a 1-game thing against the Brewers.
No,
they do not
not
want to do that.
So, no,
because I don't think they'd win.
If
they have a 1-game playoff against the Brewers, they're going down.
When you got a 1-game thing, you never know.
And I'll tell you what. I'm not crazy that they're playing the last 3 against the Cardinals and the Brewers are playing the freaking Tigers.
No,
I think the Cubs are in it. I hope I'm wrong. I just don't think they're going to win the division. But they're in the playoffs, so I'm not going to complain. Their 4th year in a row, they're in the playoffs. But I just think St. Louis is going to come in here.
They got nothing to lose.
No, they've got an outside chance of still getting in, but they got to win all 3. And I just would like the Cubs to win that first one.
Yes.
But I just don't think it's going to happen. Hopefully I'm wrong. Is Wainwright pitching? I think he's pitching either. Is it tonight?
I will look for you right now.
Well, it's sports, that's why you play them.
No, you're right.
It'll be fun to watch.
We got a call.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Jim, you were talking about all them calls, and the gym class doesn't get any.
There you go. There
we go.
Now, Captain, now I bet Steve, okay, now I can relax.
Yeah.
Jan, everything's okay. They're making fun
Steve
of...
just clicked off his radio saying, okay, we
all right, let's go lunch.
Move along.
Wainwright this afternoon will pitch against Kyle Hendricks.
Okay, well, Hendricks was lights out his last time.
Yeah,
so
tomorrow Cole Hamels against Mikolas, who's won 17 games. And then Sunday it's Mike Montgomery against Flaherty. So
Flaherty's been good against the Cubs, and we'll see. I mean, they're in the playoffs, though, so I can't.
And that's the biggest thing.
They made it again without their closer, without one of their best starters.
They have done miraculous work this year, considering they've had
a lot of injuries.
They sure have,
but they still don't want to play the Brewers in a 1-game playoff.
No.
I think they're going to lose. I think the Brewers right now are playing better than the Cubs.
They are. Hello.
Hey, it's lonely old Grandpa Dirk.
Boy,
hey, Log D.
Wainwright is going today against Hendricks.
He just read them off.
What he just said.
He just said it, Dirk. He just said it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he just read off the 3 starters.
We got a little delay on the stream.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He just named off all 3 starters, and I don't feel good about it.
What's the weather forecast in Chicago? Anybody know?
Similar to here, isn't it?
I will let you know,
Isn't it?
sir.
I thought it was like 50s and 60s, and
Good, solid baseball weather.
Isn't it only supposed to be like the low 60s here today?
Yeah.
About a 50-50 chance of rain and around 60.
Okay, so kind of like here.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, as a Cardinal fan, I'm disappointed in how they played against the Brewers. But
me too.
It's but you
Cardinals. Cardinals suck.
They really collapsed and played poor baseball at the worst possible time.
And my Cubs conspiracy fans are saying they did it in spite of the Cubs. What do you think of that, Dirk?
They tanked it for the Cubs.
They tanked
because the Cub fans I've come to know and despise for a lifetime.
They did it because they're jealous of the Cubs. That's what
I'm
they're
glad
saying.
to hear Cub fans think that. I'm glad to learn the Cardinals are still in the Cub fans' heads.
Yep.
Well, Cub fans don't think that. Delusional assholes think that.
Yeah.
So, in other words, Cub fans.
Hey! Not all of us are that way.
So, all 3 games this weekend are day games.
Yes.
Yep.
And you've got arguably the Cardinals' best pitcher, Miles Mikolas, going tomorrow against Hamels.
And Flaherty's been good against the Cubs.
And Hamels has not done well. He hit a kick-ass home run.
His problems lately has been he has 1 or 2 bad innings, and he's not starting well.
Yeah.
He's not starting well.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And they got to win 2 out of 3 because I think the Brewers are going to sweep the Tigers.
I wouldn't doubt it. Where are those games at Detroit?
That I don't know.
I think so.
I think they are.
I think they are.
I can look it up.
What is? I mean, Detroit. Their best player's been out for months, and they're just. Detroit's had a lost season, haven't they?
They are at Milwaukee.
Oh, they're at Milwaukee. Yes. Yeah.
And are those all night games?
The Cardinals?
No, the Brewers.
The Brewers are night game tonight, night game Saturday, and a day game on Sunday.
So if the Brewers win 2 out of 3 and the Cubs lose 2 out of 3, the Brewers win by 1 game, right?
No, it'd be tied.
Would it be tied?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
it would be because the Cubs are up by 1.
Yeah.
That's what I think could also happen. So what do they do then?
Then they have a tiebreaker at Wrigley Field because the Cubs won the series against the Brewers.
That's what I think.
And
might
that'll
happen.
be Monday.
And I still won't like that either. I'd rather be at Wrigley though. I mean, and the Cubs would probably throw Lester, I would think, over Hendricks.
Yeah, and because Lester just pitched, so he would be.
He looked really good, but you have to admit, lately he's been feast or famine.
Yeah, but
that is a Cub fan's worst nightmare.
They don't
right
want
there.
We don't want that. We want to win this division and have that series and have 3 days to rest as opposed to 1 day. This is huge.
Well, today's a big game for the Cubs.
It's huge.
They win this afternoon. That puts pressure on the Brewers to keep up.
Yes, I will agree with that.
And, you lose Friday and Saturday, and those
It's
guys
Wainwright, and Wainwright has been a Cub killer. Now, I know he's getting older and coming off injury, but he has been a Cub killer over the years.
And he's coming off 2 fairly exceptional starts,
yeah, he's been better.
Especially his last one.
Because when he first came back, he was not good. So we'll see.
I think he's tired.
So we'll see.
Well,
I think he's tired, Dirk. His arm's going to get sore.
Well, the Cardinals they're not mathematically eliminated yet.
No.
That's the other reason why they're going to. If it would be different if they were mathematically eliminated, but they're not. They're still.
Now they're a game behind the Dodgers for the second and final wild card.
They've got a chance still. They still have a chance.
And the Dodgers have to go to San Francisco, their arch rival, although Giants aren't very good.
Giants have sucked.
Anything
doesn't
can
matter,
happen
though, when they...
in a rivalry.
Yeah, in
series.
baseball, anything can happen. Yeah, so we'll see.
So,
I mean, it's
Hawkeye Sports. I heard from a friend back home in downstate Illinois that the Hawkeyes got a verbal commitment from a junior running back in a small school called Beardstown. Hispanic kid, Pascal. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Have not heard it.
G.
It has not been reported.
Have not heard.
Yeah.
Could it be a walk-on?
No, he visited last weekend.
Well, I mean, just because he visited doesn't mean he couldn't be a walk-on. Lots of walk-ons visit.
Yeah.
Does he have a scholarship offer?
Yeah. Well, that's what my friend said, that he got one and accepted it. My friend could be mistaken, but I wondered if.
Well, I'm just because
we heard about the tight end, the Neiman, or however you pronounce it.
Yeah, he committed, but been, and at this day and age, rarely do these things happen without somebody.
Happen in a vacuum?
Well, yeah, I mean, you saw. On the moment it happens, you've got Blair, Rob, the 247 Brigade, Tyler, everyone. I mean, it's just, unless they're keeping it secret or he's a walk-on, but even walk-ons usually announce their.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, what's his name again?
His first name is Pascal, Pascal. He's a real shifty, speedy running back, and his last name begins with a G. It's like, I don't know what the hell it is. Let me look it up here. I got it.
Because, I mean, someone could Google and Pascal, Iowa commit, and
I've got it here.
I just haven't seen anything.
His last name, if I can pronounce it properly, is Guilavogui. Guilavogui.
What's his size?
He's listed as an athlete on the Iowa recruiting list, but I think he's 5'10", 170.
Wow, I don't know anything about this.
No.
Yeah, I know about him from our hometown area, but in fact, my high school alma mater is playing against him tonight.
Yeah, Beardstown is about halfway between the Quad Cities and St. Louis, just between Springfield and Quincy.
Supposedly, where Abe Lincoln contracted venereal disease. Seriously, that's been the.
Is that on the city sign when you drive in?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah,
we gave
what
Lincoln,
was Abe doing?
We gave Lincoln the clap.
Yeah,
old honest Abe. So,
you can.
I don't know what to. I mean, it's just odd if something like that. I mean, Tom, you follow it even closer. There's got to be something.
News to me. I'm not saying it's not right.
No, I'm not saying it's not right either. I just wonder if it's a walk-on or I don't know. But like I said, during the break I can look, but Blair, none of those guys have anything on it.
Yeah, I looked there too and didn't see anything other than his name as a visitor last Saturday. Hey, you guys want to really tick off Captain Steve?
Not really.
Today is the 51st birthday of Moon Unit Zappa. And I bet he would not be happy if you played Valley Girl.
No. I would.
Yes, he would, because it was a hit.
Yes, it was. 1982.
And it's in our time frame. He would absolutely be supportive of that.
Who
100%.
sings Valley Girl? Was it from the movie Valley Girl?
No, it was a song by Frank Zappa. And
Moon Unit
was
Zappa.
All of about 14.
Oh, yeah, I never listened to Frank Zappa.
Lord God King Boo-Foo.
I tried to listen to Frank Zappa because I thought it would make me cool, and it was painful.
He's a great musician,
but his songs, they're just a bunch of noise.
Yeah.
I just couldn't listen.
Crew Slut was pretty good.
Yeah. That whole album was
Did
pretty
your band
good.
do any Zappa songs?
Joe's Garage is a great song about being in a
Garage
band.
was excellent.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
Disco Boy, I like that one.
And we could play something for Ed Sullivan would have been 116 today if he was still alive.
You could upset Captain Steve if you played another birthday musical talent, C.J. Chenier. Zydeco.
Yes.
He is 61 years old today.
I like me some Zydeco. From it's got to be a short, small dose, but I like it.
Zydeco's good time.
What are you guys talking about?
It is Zydeco music.
You know, with the little
Cajun kind of.
Little Cajun.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't mind that.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
Now, is C.J. Clifton Chenier's...
He is his son. In fact, C.J. grew up not knowing his father. Grew up poor in Janis Joplin's hometown of Port Arthur, Texas.
Son of a gun.
Didn't know who his dad was until he got into high school. And long story short, his dad, he learned music, went to college to study music, and became a member of Clifton, his dad's band, the Red Hot Louisiana Band. And then when his dad died, C.J. took over.
Cool.
You know what else about C.J.? He's going to start for the 49ers this weekend.
A different C.J.
Oh.
A Trump-loving C.J.
I'll have to try to forgive him.
Yeah.
But it ain't easy.
No.
Who do anybody know who the Niners play this weekend?
Someone who's going to beat them.
Who, Tommy? Chargers.
San Diego. Yeah.
Have either one of those teams won a game yet this season?
No, we were just talking about that this morning. The Cardinals and the Raiders are still winless, which surprises me, and the Texans.
In Texas? Oh, wow. Well, I don't pay much attention to the NFL these days.
Yeah.
Since the Rams abandoned St. Louis, I just don't care anymore.
And the Rams are good, 4-0.
They are good.
Yes.
I watched pieces of that game
Threw
last
for almost
night.
500 yards last night, and Austin Blythe starting at, left or right guard and playing well.
He graded out as
listen,
the number
guys,
one.
I got to go clean up toilet paper off my trees and bushes in the front yard. It's homecoming in Regina.
Did the Kinnick House people TP? Or?
No, it's the
used toilet
tradition
paper.
that Regina cheerleaders TP the homes of the
I know.
football
My
players.
neighbors across the street had kids on there always this time, and hey, we're actually
Some things never change.
We're doing Regina's game tonight.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, okay, good.
It's Regina versus South Hardin.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a hard one for South Hardin.
Well, Regina's got some more injuries.
Oh no, I know, but I think I'm pretty comfortable thinking Regina's going to win this game.
I think so. They should.
But I don't want to give South Hardin any bulletin board material. You think they're listening?
Yes.
Where is Hardin County? Isn't that what
it's
this
on
is?
the border with Missouri.
Oh,
isn't
so
it?
they're way down there.
Pretty sure they're south central Iowa.
So they're going to be spitting out teeth during this game.
We actually have some South Hardin fans going to be listening on our stream tonight.
We do?
Oh, good.
Because they
Well, then I'm not
can't make
guaranteeing
the trip.
I'm not guaranteeing victory to those South Hardin fans. You still got to play. That's why they play the games, right?
That's
Tom?
right.
And
Never.
it's going to be a cold one tonight. It's going to
Down in the
game
40s.
time be down in
Perfect.
the mid 40s.
You guys turned your
Perfect
heat on yet?
Fall weather.
You guys turned
Yeah, I was tempted to turn the heat on.
I was close the other day, and I usually try to wait until mid to late October. But the other day I woke up, it was 41 out, and my house was at 63. That's pretty cold.
Yeah.
You got
I think
Podasky
tonight's
freezing
gonna
his
be
ass
the-
off downstairs.
Oh, I'll bet he was.
Tonight's going to be a deal breaker. What's it going to get down to 35?
I am not
36
turning my
degrees?
heat on before October.
Upper 30s, they're saying, but who knows? It could go lower.
Am I going to turn my heat on in September?
If I feel chilly in my own house, I'll turn the heat on,
That's
and I
what
don't
I'm
care
gonna
about
do.
the calendar.
That's how I always care about the calendar. But if it gets cold enough, I will. I also don't like to turn my heat on before they come and inspect it every year. But I do get mine. Do you get yours inspected every year?
No way.
No.
I get mine inspected every year because I got this deal where I pay, I think, $150 a year, and you get 2 inspections.
That's
and
a good deal.
10% off of everything
Yeah.
you do. I've
Yep.
been doing that for years.
Yep.
Who does that for you?
Kelly Heating.
I'd never heard of that. That's good.
It's great. Yeah, and they call and remind you, hey, here. It's always they usually come out. Yeah, they do it twice a year, and then, like I said, any repair work you get 10% off, and so anytime you want to call to get your furnace checked anyway, it's going to cost you $75 to $100. So
Right.
That's right.
That's why.
Well,
but
that's
yeah,
true.
But yeah, Kelly, I'm sure other companies do, but no, I've been doing it with Kelly.
I know
Heating.
HJ Limited used to do it 20 years ago.
I had when I was in, I had a house in the Quad Cities. I had a heating contractor do that.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this with Kelly Heating, and they don't even advertise with either one of my websites, and I still do it with Kelly Heating. So.
Well, Dirk, thanks for the call.
We got to take a break.
I'm glad to help stretch things, and I just want to say go Cardinals and go Regals, and now I got to go clean up toilet paper.
All right, man. Thanks for the call. We'll be right back.
Taking a break. You're listening to allhawkeyes.com on the mighty 1630 KCJJ.
Hawkeye fans, you love watching the black and gold. You know Hawkeye Black and Gold. As a Hawkeye fan, there are no better colors than the Hawkeye Black and Gold. Hi, I'm Steve Anderson. When you're buying, selling, or refinancing your property, consider the green and white team, Hawkeye Title and Settlement. Give us a call at 351-8600. Hawkeye Title and Settlement. The team you love, the people you trust.
This is Kevin Finke from Central State Bank. At CSB, we know life can be hectic and complicated these days. Our goal is to make managing your finances efficient, accessible, innovative, and effortless. Whether it's personal finances or managing a business, we have the tools and expertise to help you get the most out of every dollar. Visit our convenient new location on the Coralville Strip or go to www.centralstate.bank and see for yourself.
Central State Bank, member FDIC.
Hey, AJ Perez here from Deary Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Iowa City. September is Jeep Adventure Days, and to celebrate, we're throwing our annual Deary Jeep Jam Saturday, September 29th.
AJ, excuse me, isn't there a football game that day?
No game, so join us at the Deary Jeep Jam September.
AJ, isn't September also Ram Power Days?
Join us for the Deary Jeep and Ram Jam Saturday, September 29th from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Let us take a picture of you and your Jeep or Ram and get a free t-shirt and a chance to win $500 in Jeep accessories.
And someone wins $500 in Ram accessories too, right?
Okay, sure.
Balloons for the kids?
And food on the grill.
What about the deals?
Save up to $6,000 all month long on a new 2019 Jeep Cherokee.
And Ram?
Up to $16,000 in total savings on a new 2018 Ram 1500. Deary Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, 651 Highway 1 West in Iowa City, or online at DearyIC.com.
All offers are while supplies last. Not everyone qualifies for all incentives. See dealer for details.
1-800-800-ROSE. 1-800-800-ROSE. Your FTD florist is the only number you need to know to send flowers anywhere in the country or Canada from anywhere in the country. 1-800-800-ROSE. It's so easy. Just remember one number. 1-800-800-ROSE. Your FTD florist. 1-800-800-ROSE. Remember, Deli Mart.
There are lots of convenience stores, but only one offers great service. Deli Mart. Your locally owned and operated deli marts have 6 very convenient locations. Ice cold beer, energy drinks, pop and java. Plus, if you're hungry, Deli Mart has fresh hot food, snacks, and tons of sweet treats. And if that's not enough, get your gas tank filled and get a sparkling clean car wash. Deli Mart, great stuff and great service. Locally owned and operated since 1986.
GT Carr, owner of Supple Siding and Remodeling, offers service and quality that is unmatched in the area. At Supple Siding and Remodeling, their trained professionals will install and guarantee the products used in any size job done, regardless of the project. Supple Siding and Remodeling will stand behind their quality products and installation with exceptional customer service. Whether it's a window replacement, a kitchen remodel, or a house addition, our employees are committed to quality. Visit sales at supples.net or call 337-2246.
Loud and clear from the heart of the Hawkeye Nation, you're listening to the mighty 1630 KCJJ.
Allhawkeyes.com with Pat Hardy and Tom Suter. And we are going to really break down this bye week here now in the second part of the show.
Now he practically blows.
What's that?
I said we're breaking down the bye week.
Breaking it down. Breaking it down.
Who's breaking it down?
We are.
Oh.
Because we're back.
Oh, we're back? Okay.
So, well, I will ask the question another time because we have another caller. Hello.
Hello, it's Chris in New York. How are you?
Hey, good, Chris. How are you doing?
Hey, I looked up that guy that Grandpa Dirk was talking about. He has a rivals page, Pascal Giovogli.
Okay.
But he's a class of 2020, and he doesn't have a rivals rank or any position ranking, and it has really no information. It just has his picture, where he's from, his weight, and then he just says total schools of interest 1, Iowa, and no offers. So it sounds like, a little early on that.
So he doesn't have an offer from Iowa yet?
Not according to the Rivals
that's kind of what
but he was on the list. I
remember his name. Yeah. I remember seeing his name just because it was such an unusual name. And so we'll see. It's obviously somebody they're interested in.
Or at least enough to have him here.
Yeah.
He must be quick, though, because if you Google his name, there's track and field results with his name mentioned. So he must be a track guy. So
well, at 5'10", 170, I would hope so. I mean, he's not real.
This says 6'1", 185, but you know how that
the
is.
Other one's...
Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's
so 3 inches, 15 pound difference.
Yeah, what the hell?
Well, he's a growing boy.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Hey, since it's a bye week when you don't have a game to talk about, did any of you guys happen to catch Real Sports on HBO the other night? Did any of you guys watch that?
I didn't.
I've watched it recently, but what's this new one about?
Yeah, so this week they premiered, they have one episode a month. It's kind of like, 60 Minutes news magazine show.
Yeah, I watch it.
And I've always enjoyed it, yeah. So this week they had on a story about college football player deaths during training and also as it relates to strength and conditioning coaches. So they kind of profiled some of the high-profile deaths that have happened over the past, 10, 15 years. And, of course, they talked about the situation in Maryland. They talked about a young man at Cal 3 years ago or 4 years ago that died. And, the coach was very, unapologetic and has somehow kept his job at Cal despite this. And,
would that have been Would that have been Jeff Tedford?
I think it might have been after his era. I don't know. But the strength and conditioning coach was, in a deposition was pretty, they showed at least was pretty unrepentant, honestly, and unsympathetic. But
that's unfortunate.
It wasn't, you know how these stories are. They're not terribly balanced.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they sort of highlighted a problem because the NCAA really has no regulation over these guys. There is a certification program, but it's kind of a joke.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to believe that the ones at the best schools are highly trained and worth the money and know what they're doing. But at the same time, they said there's really no regulations. There's very few, at least on the surface, there appears to be very few safeguards in case someone, passes out, has heat stroke, gets sick. And I think that's kind of been borne out in some of these, terrible.
Well, obviously, there's no ambulance. There's no.
Yeah.
And there's probably, is there always a team doctor at practice, do you think?
Justin Wilcox is Cal's coach.
Okay. Was he? I don't know if he was the coach because there was also wasn't Houston.
Yeah.
Wasn't Houston Spike Dykes? Wasn't he the Cal coach for a while too?
Maybe
prior to Justin Wilcox. But you bring up a good point though because I don't know in a normal practice. I assume there's always got to be a team doctor at a Division I football team's practice. Don't you think? There's got to be.
You'd think so,
but I don't know that for sure.
What they were saying was, the big issue isn't even so much how hard they push the players, just that if something does happen, they said the number one thing they can do is have cold ice baths. Before you even call the ambulance, you put the guy in a freezing cold ice bath. If they'd done that at Maryland, it would have saved the kid's life because it would have immediately lowered his temperature. And
so I wonder why they don't do that. That's something they could always have.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something that from this death, maybe that will start happening. I mean, that seems pretty common sense.
And so you wonder about all that. It raised a lot of concerns. But then here's where the Iowa element comes in. They bring up Chris Doyle on the University of Iowa.
Well, they always do because he's the highest paid strength coach in the country. Right now.
So they talked about how much these guys are paid, and then they mentioned Chris Doyle, and they show his picture, and they talk about his salary. And that's all they really said about Doyle. But they could have talked about the rhabdomyolysis thing that happened in 2011 where 13 of our players ended up in the hospital.
I'm actually surprised they did.
I guess my question to you is, Pat, do you know if Iowa changed anything about their procedures?
Yeah, they stopped.
2011?
I know for a fact they stopped doing that specific workout. That's the biggest change. I don't know if they changed anything structurally. I don't think Kirk ever thought Doyle did anything wrong because right after that stuff came out, Kirk, remember he gave him that award? He kind of made – I didn't think that was the greatest timing on Kirk's behalf, but that was his deal. But no, the main change they did was they eliminated that workout. They don't do it anymore.
You've got to think, if I were Gary Barter or Kirk Ferentz, particularly after what's happened this summer in our own conference, you'd think that they'd be reviewing policies and procedures. And
I think they do. I think they do that more than we think, but I also think Kirk Ferentz has so much trust in Chris Doyle that I think he always gives Chris the benefit of the doubt, right or wrong. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, and right now, for the most part, Chris Doyle's track record speaks for itself. The Rabdel thing was an unfortunate incident. Could have been a lot worse. I think Iowa got very lucky there with the Rabdel thing that everyone did fully recover and only one player sued, I believe. William Lowe, didn't he win like $10,000?
Yeah, I think so.
Something like that. And that's more power to him if he felt he had the but, yeah, it's more and more attention is going to be focused on strength because the game has changed. Kids don't go home for summer anymore. They live here. The strength coaches are around these players way more than anybody else. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, I think, with stories like this. I mean, the Jordan McNair thing's horrible. I feel so bad for his family. Could have been avoided. And if they need to start keeping ice baths ready out there, then do it. I mean, maybe that'll be one positive thing to come from this. I don't know.
Didn't Maryland put tents up so that when they do take breaks, they already got shade and stuff like that?
Yeah,
that I'm not aware of.
And they invited ESPN, the media, to show up. So this was a week or two before the football season, and they invited the media to show up, and they made a big show of, look, we have Gatorade, we have ice baths, and it was really kind of
late.
But
I mean, Jordan McNair's dead.
It's a little late, exactly. But if you guys get a chance, check out that episode.
Oh, I will. I always try to watch it. They play it.
Yeah.
It's on they run it for about 50 months.
And it's good stuff.
It's always, I did watch one a couple of weeks ago. They were interviewing the Sherpas that help the people climb to Mount Everest and risk their lives for all these idiots who want to climb up to Mount Everest.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking the people that do it, except for the ones who do it and rely on so many other people to help them get up there. That's what just drives me nuts. I mean, the amount of people that take those trips to Mount. Would you ever want to go to the top of Mount Everest?
No thanks.
Not at all.
It doesn't really appeal to me at all. It really doesn't.
Nope.
But a lot of people do. But no, thanks for that heads up because I do like watching.
Yeah.
Brian Gumbel's been doing that for years.
He's best in sports.
I agree.
Hey, there's no Hawkeye football this weekend, but there is Ivy League football. And I'm going tonight, Ivy League football in New York City, Columbia 2-0 against Princeton 2-0.
Wow, something's got to give.
For both teams. My alma mater, Columbia Lions, second in the league last year, best team they've had in, forever.
So how many people will be?
So we should put big money down on the Lions tonight?
I'll tell you what. I don't know about that, but I'll tell you what. The game's actually on. Believe it or not, the game's on ESPNU. I think it is.
I may check that out.
Or ESPN News.
Oh no, I won't. I'm working tonight. What am
City erupts and rivalry.
6 p.m. Eastern kickoff.
So what kind of crowd would be? How many people?
What kind of crowd?
Yeah. If you had to guess.
On a Saturday. Look, this is football in Upper Manhattan, New York City. With not terribly interested. This is not Big Ten football. This is 1A football, and it's not even at the level of a North Dakota State or a UNI, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say on an average game, if you drew 3,000 to 5,000 fans, that's pretty good.
It's like a big high
school.
It
might be more tonight because, one, it's Friday. Two, Princeton is only 50, 75 miles away. So
and they're both undefeated.
Imagine. Yeah, so.
Well, have fun.
If you ever.
What's that?
It should be, it should be interesting. So I was going to tell you guys, if you ever, as college football fans, as I know you guys are, if you ever get a chance, bucket list item, you should come out to the East Coast sometime and go to the game. And by the game, I mean Harvard-Yale game.
Harvard-Yale, yeah.
That is
I've been told that. Brent Kavanaugh went to Yale.
Something.
Yeah. You think he went to the Harvard-Yale game? Hammered? Just hammered?
I'm sure he did.
Just hammered. Just headbutting old ladies. I'm kidding. I'm just trying to have
hand
fun.
up the cheerleader skirts.
Yeah.
Maybe they check his calendar. I bet.
There you go.
Okay, all right. I don't have the only thing I have left from 1982 are bad memories. I certainly don't have a calendar, man. I couldn't.
That's something he got from his dad.
I know. I couldn't have kept a calendar. I mean, I just am not. But that's why he was number one in Yale law, and I made it through Drake.
There you go.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Good call.
Anyway, college football tonight, Columbia Princeton.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
Be safe. No, I've heard the Harvard Yale game would be something. I'm not sure if you had to do your 5 bucket list, could you do?
I think an Army-Navy game would be fun to watch. I mean,
that would be about number 20,000.
It wouldn't be up high.
Yeah, but as far as
as far as sporting events,
the atmosphere.
Anything. What would be your anything? Wow. Your 5 bucket list to do anything?
Oh boy, I would like to go. Like I've seen Band of Brothers tours that you can do, that they go to all the things that were key in the Band of Brothers, in Bastogne and
What's Band of Brothers?
It's a World War II HBO thing that's just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But my uncle fought at Bastogne, and earned a Silver Star there, so I would kind of like to, visit that a little bit. So that would be one that I would like to do. Certainly would like. I lived one of them last year when I went to Liverpool.
Okay.
And did the Beatles stuff, and that was absolutely bucket list material.
Sure.
I've done most everything in the United States that I've really wanted to do, I would say.
Have you been to Hawaii?
That's the one thing I haven't done.
So that's one of your buckets?
Yes. We were going to do that this fall, but Ann's knee is
See, for me, Australia or New Zealand would be more of a bucket list than Hawaii. That's just me.
I've got a text from Steve.
What?
He says his bucket list includes hearing the gym class get a phone call.
I saw that one coming.
Yeah.
I actually saw that one coming.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it was funny, mean, snarky, but I saw that one coming. I would have shot that one down if I was the opposition.
Oh, gosh, what else?
It's a tough question, isn't it?
It is.
One of mine would be to go to Vietnam to see I'd love to see like Hamburger Hill, the Hanoi Hilton.
Yeah.
I'd love to go on a Vietnam tour and just see all the different spots where we suffered and prospered and whatever.
Cuba.
And that's a doable thing.
Cuba's, I will do that eventually. Mm-hmm. As soon as things mellow out a little bit.
You'll laugh at this one, but another one I'd like to go is the Loch Ness. Not because I believe in the Loch Ness Monster, but I've heard it's just absolutely
I would love to go to Scotland.
I would love to do,
Yes.
and just, spend a week there on that lake. That would be definitely one. Now, sports-wise, I have no desire to go to the Super Bowl.
I just to say I've done it, I would do that. I mean,
I'd much rather see like the Cubs in a World Series game if I was doing
that would be
NBA. I've seen NBA games. Going to an NBA final game would nothing.
NBA's nothing.
That does nothing for me. But Cubs in a World Series game would be definitely one.
You could give me a courtside seat to a NBA Finals game, and I wouldn't want to drive to wherever it is.
You'd sell it.
Well, now you're talking.
Yeah, there you go.
But music-wise, bucket list for me, it's hard because a lot of things that I would want on a bucket list can't happen because the musicians are dead.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to see Led Zeppelin. The Led Zeppelin that was.
It's impossible.
I've seen Robert Plant, and that was pretty cool.
I've not seen Robert. I've not seen any of the members of Led Zeppelin live.
And he plays small venues now. He doesn't go to stadiums or anything. I mean, last time I saw him, he was at the Riviera in Chicago. It holds about 2,000
I've been
people.
there.
Yeah,
that would have been neat.
I've seen a lot of the musical stuff for me that big influences. Would of course love to have seen the Beatles, but that wasn't a possibility.
But I don't have any bucket lists like skydiving, climbing a mountain, climbing a rock.
See, that stuff doesn't appeal to me
at all. I mean, skydiving just would be terrifying.
I have a dream trip incorporating two of my big loves, sports and music. Go to the East Coast, stay in New York for a day, then drive up to Cooperstown and spend a couple days there.
I've been there.
And then drive back through the East Coast on the fall, with the foliage and everything, and stop in Cleveland at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Okay. Oh, nice! Yeah,
that would be. Yeah, I would like to see the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Although I've been told, I think maybe Richard even. Some people that have been there say it's not that great. But
I haven't seen it.
I think a lot of it's just your opinion. I have been to Cooperstown. I remember we did the pitching machines there. You can throw the ball and everything. We spent a day at Cooperstown back when Iowa played Syracuse, the goal line stand.
They had a traveling Hall of Fame exhibit at the River Bandits game last summer, and it was something. And that was just a portion. I mean, just to see some of that stuff. I mean, they had the bat that Roger Maris hit his 61st home run with, and Willie Mays' glove that he made the catch with, and I got goosebumps, and it's just a sliver of what they got.
They have a museum like that down in St. Pete, and it had a lot of stuff like that.
I've been there
very cool.
When Iowa played one of the bowl games, we went to that.
Yeah,
but another one
I thought it was worthwhile.
one I would like to do, which is kind of off. I would love to take a safe big canoe down the Amazon. That's always been something that I'd love to float down the Amazon for as long as I could and hopefully not get killed.
And hopefully not get malaria or
everything.
I think that's the goal of every dream trip is not get killed.
Yes, but the Amazon has always been sort of I've always been kind of amazed by that because
I've never been real interested in that.
How much would someone have to pay you to swim across the widest part of the Amazon?
Hello.
Do you know how to swim?
Lonely old Grandpa Dirk again.
All right, sir.
Richard is a killjoy of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I'm not sure if it was Richard who told me that, or I thought somebody went that I know and said it was nothing.
I spent an entire day with our mutual friend Bart Shore, from open till close at the Cleveland Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and it wasn't even close to enough. Just the movie theaters, the multiple movie theaters they have there, will engross you nonstop. And there's a really cool section for radio where you can go and put on headphones and log into whatever market, mostly major markets, but some mid-majors, and listen to radio DJs from the past, whether it's the 50s or 60s or 70s or 80s. And it's just engrossing. And I wished then that we had another day to spend. And the Baseball Hall of Fame is the same. We spent an entire day there, and it wasn't nearly enough.
Yeah, I would say those two are things within America that I have not done that I would like to do.
Baseball, I enjoyed it, but I was ready to leave after about 4 hours. I mean, it was neat.
If you're like a writer like you are maybe and say, you make arrangements to do research, you can really delve into the archives there. And I can only imagine how cool that would be.
Oh, I'll bet.
I did do the Country Music Hall of Fame in Nashville.
You'd have to pay me to go to that.
Oh no, that was
I think
really
it'd still
cool.
be cool, yeah.
It was, and
I'm still
because I love Patsy
and
Cline and all
isn't
that
Kansas
stuff.
City where the Negro League
I've been
museum?
there, and that
would be
somewhat
neat.
disappointing.
Oh, it is?
Is that right?
Yeah, it wasn't very big. Now, Grant, I went there how long ago did we play K-State at Arrowhead Stadium?
2002, was it?
2000.
2000.
So I've read where it has since been enlarged a bit, but it was really shockingly small. But the stuff they had was just priceless. But I wanted more. I wanted to see so much more.
Well, it was really cool. I read this story about this guy that went in the 80s, and there was an old guy sitting out front, and he sat down and talked to him for a little bit. It turned out it was Buck O'Neill.
Yeah, Buck O'Neill, yeah.
And he
was basically the not the founder, but the guy behind getting that thing up and going.
Yeah, and he was the scene stealer in the baseball documentary with Ken Burns. He was absolutely great.
Yeah, a wealth of knowledge.
And he lived another 5 to 10 years after that, and still
wasn't he like 96 when he
still looked awesome. He'd come to Cub games, and this thing take me up to the ball game, and it was still just wonderful.
It's amazing.
The Negro League Hall of Fame is not in a great part of town, but ironically, it's right a block away from the famous song that going to Kansas City, 14th and Vine. I think it's 13th and Vine or something. And it's
12th.
also right around the corner from the world's
Seriously,
12th
Street and
I think it's 12th.
shack.
Who sings that song?
Wilbert Harrison.
Okay.
And the Beatles did a version.
Yep, that's right.
Did the Little Richard version, which says the Kansas City, hey, 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 hey.
Yeah.
And they've got a great barbecue shack right around the corner. I'm just drawing a blank on the name of it now, where you walk in and they basically insult you.
Well, there used to be a place called Dick's Last Resort that would do that.
It's not that.
I remember going down there to San Antonio, and I was not aware of it, and the waitress told me to F off.
Yeah, I did the touristy thing in Chicago, went to Ed DeBevick's.
Yeah, Ed DeBevick's.
And
Yep.
the music is so loud, and the music
there.
and the food isn't
See, I
all that
wouldn't like
great.
that.
And I'm just like, just get me out.
So what do they
here.
do if somebody goes in there? No, why don't you F off? I mean, do they throw you out if you show any resistance? Because I was not aware. My friends played a joke on me. They didn't warn me about what we were going into, and I'm just like, what? I called her. I'm like, what's your problem? Why are you being such a BA? And then she knew I wasn't aware, and then they kind of just a weird concept, don't you think?
Well, I kind of like it.
Yeah, I just
as long as I'm in on the joke.
Yeah.
If I wasn't in on it, I'd be cacked.
It was different.
It'd be nice if somebody would call in and tell us. I can't think of the name of that Kansas City barbecue joint. Paul Bryant's. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Paul Bear Bryant's?
No. Or wait a minute, not Paul.
I'm hungry.
It's Bryant's though.
Okay.
BRYANT''S, and it is awesome.
Barbecue
very
last night.
Meager environment, very simple servings.
Sometimes that's the best.
Yeah, it was so good. And by the way, I need to ask you a favor, Jim.
Yes, sir.
Today is the 90th birthday of Coco Taylor.
Yes.
Can you play a little Coco for us?
No.
He won't care. I called him ahead of time and asked if that would be okay.
I actually will. If you listen to our sister station this afternoon, you'll hear some Coco Taylor.
You can also play "Touch Me" by the Doors because that was a hit.
Yes,
and it wasn't in the 80s.
I know, but it was on the Ed Sullivan Show, and he died or was born today, so we could do it in honor of Ed Sullivan.
We could do that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, there you go. and then remember, didn't Jim piss him off by singing "Girl, We Couldn't Get Much Higher"?
Yes,
right.
Yeah,
right. Ed Sullivan said you'd never come on my show again. Then I think Morrison peed on him, didn't he? Or...
No, Morrison just said, "That's okay. We've already been on your show."
Yeah, that is what he said.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Hey, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame had Jim Morrison's diary.
I thought you were going to say, never mind.
They had his childhood diary.
So is that like Brett Kavanaugh's calendar?
They had his Cub Scout uniform. It had
like a pack of cigarettes and a syringe
and
in
some
it.
puke stains on the front.
He wasn't into needles.
I know. I'm just
and
kidding.
know that.
I'm just kidding. I like Jim. I know Tom doesn't, and I just find it funny. He was a dick, though. I mean, let's face it. I
didn't like him.
He was
my favorite story.
I think he is everything that's wrong with
Janis Joplin hitting him over the head with a Southern Comfort.
Well, he was probably bipolar and an alcoholic.
And probably a manic depressant, probably ADHD. I mean, he was probably all that stuff.
My favorite story about Jim Morrison is the story about the early one morning. This lady, older lady, gets up to get her paper off the front porch of her house, and Jim Morrison's passed out on it. In some bizarre neighborhood in Los Angeles, that's how her day started.
That doesn't surprise me. Do you need to take that call, Tom? Take it on the air.
It's a robocall.
Oh, About car warranty or...
Oh, I never go far enough. I never let him go far enough.
All right.
As soon as I know it's a robocall, it's done. I don't care if it's...
So you guys going to watch football tomorrow?
Yes.
I am.
Sure.
I am.
I'm going to watch a lot of football tomorrow.
I'm going to do chores, too. I'm going to do... Well, it's supposed to rain. I mean, there's a 50% chance of rain tomorrow, isn't there?
Yep.
So I'm hoping to do some stuff outside.
Well, Dirk, you talked about Beardstown being the home of where Abe Lincoln got the clap. I am going tomorrow to one of the sites of the Lincoln-Douglas debates.
To get the clap, right?
Galesburg? It could happen Ottawa. That's where my 40th high school reunion is tomorrow.
Uh-oh.
So I hope my classmates don't give me the clap.
We'll go to
what
Galesburg,
year reunion is this, Jim?
You're the class of 78?
This would be 40, yeah.
You're my brother's grade.
Yeah, I'm 4 years behind your friend Keith.
Keith and Kim Conness.
Yeah, and the Renkostics.
Marty Brown.
Yep.
And I could name a few others from that era. They had some really good basketball. But
Yep.
You went to the public school, right?
No, I went to the Catholic school.
You were at Marquette?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
golly.
So when I was in 8th grade, I was watching those guys play on TV in the state finals.
I was there in Champaign watching those games.
Yep, there you go.
Wow.
Yeah, they were a really good team, and those were really good guys. Stickman and Kim, they were really good guys.
All right,
well, have fun, Jim, and guys.
You'll hear all about it Monday.
But a hound dog.
All right.
Amen, brother.
See you, man. Bye.
So tomorrow night we got Ohio State, Penn State. That's at 6:30.
And that's at Penn State, I believe.
Yes. I got Ohio State in that one.
I do a little bit because I don't think Penn State's defense is that good. But I wouldn't. I would not be surprised if Trace McSorley, especially with Bosa out. It'll be interesting to see what happens. That Dwayne Hoskins hasn't had any adversity yet this year.
It's true.
So that
he sure looked good though.
He's got the best arm. He throws a beautiful ball. I've got Ohio State by a smidgen right now, but we'll see. That's a game I'm looking forward to, and I'm looking forward to Nebraska-Purdue.
That should be a good one.
I've been reading. Well, I don't read because the Omaha World is all subscription now. But I looked at some of the headlines, and one of the stories was, this year maybe we're a little soon, but next year they're going to take off. That was one of the. It was just.
I imagine they'll be better.
I mean, God, they can't be much worse than 0-3 and losing 56-3 or whatever it was at Michigan. But it's just always. I don't know. I mean, just the Nebraska narrative. Just it never changes.
That should be a good. Is that an 11:00-er?
That I don't know. I don't know. Somebody can. If you can look up the TV schedule.
This is why states that only really don't have any pro football or pro teams.
Mm-hmm.
They just go wild over the college.
Well,
when I came here to Iowa from Illinois, because I lived close to Chicago, there was we paid attention to the University of Illinois and Bradley and DePaul. But boy, coming across the border, it's all Hawkeyes all the time.
Well, think if there was only one school in the state.
Right.
Nebraska's only got one school. Wisconsin. If you combined Iowa and Iowa State, we'd probably have 90 to 100,000 people coming to games every year.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever thought about that, Tom? What it would be like with just
absolutely.
one school? I mean, Nebraska draws 90,000, but they've only got one school. Their fan base isn't divided in half.
Yeah.
Same with Wisconsin. I mean, it's easier when you don't have another Division I Power 5 school you're competing against. But I mean, obviously college football is huge here, and it's always going to be big. I mean, even I don't remember the 70s, but did Iowa football become irrelevant in the 70s?
There was still, I mean, you'd still get 40,000 people there or more, but it certainly wasn't nationally relevant.
Could you imagine the 70s with Twitter?
Oh my God, it would have been
and Facebook and Snapchat
and no leaving the games for halftime.
Yeah, no leaving. Yeah, no. I mean, could you imagine what that would have been like? That would have been such a combustible situation.
All right, let's see.
Oh, you got the schedule?
Yeah. Rutgers versus Indiana at 11. Central Michigan, Michigan State at 11.
Michigan State already beat Indiana last week. Indiana kind of showed to me last week it's a pretender again, losing 35-21. Indiana just doesn't. They're still just not playing good enough defense.
No.
But that Indiana Rutgers game, Indiana wins that. They're 4-1 and 1-1 in the Big Ten. They've got a chance at 4-1. You've got a chance to do something.
Now I think Michigan at Northwestern's kind of interesting.
Yes, because that's the kind of game all of a sudden out of nowhere Northwestern will win, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't either.
I think Michigan's in a groove now.
But it could still be interesting.
I think Michigan's going to go 10. I picked Michigan to go 11-1 this year, but I picked them to beat Notre Dame. So
10-2.
I've got them probably going 10-2. I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan ran the table.
And then Purdue, Nebraska at 3:30 also.
I'm looking forward to that one. I have a feeling Nebraska's going to win that game. I don't know why I'm thinking that. I have even couple of the Nebraska beat writers picked them to lose, and I'm still picking Nebraska to win. So I mean, to me that's going to be an interesting game because if they go 0-4 and aren't even competitive against Purdue, I think even the Colt.
But that's at Nebraska. But they've lost 7 in a row. Haven't they?
But even the Colt fans, I think, would start to wonder what's going on because it is kind of a Colt at Nebraska. I mean,
it is. Well, clearly they thought Scott Frost was going to wave a magic wand, but the Big Ten, you've got to be able to compete in the trenches, and they can't.
They can't, no.
I mean, they got some good skill players. They always have good skill players.
And I got to remind myself sometimes we're pretty rough on Nebraska fans, and deservedly so, but imagine how Iowa fans, imagine how your mind would be shaped if the team that you worship and love was incredible for 30 years, from the 60s to the 90s. You'd be, think about that. Think about how we'd be. We'd like to say that but you don't know. I mean, you don't know how 30 years of dominance and having years where you don't win fewer than 9 games every year. Think about that.
My experience was the opposite because it went through 18 non-winning seasons.
So I do think Nebraska fans are delusional and idiotic and at times just complete morons, but they're coming from a weird situation.
It's like the Iowa wrestling fans.
Yeah, it's like being a Yankee fan in the 60s.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that Iowa wrestling, now. I mean, now wrestling's obviously more of a niche, but at Iowa there's a big, huge wrestling. So what are you saying, that Iowa wrestling fans still?
Iowa wrestling was as dominant as Nebraska football.
More.
Or more so.
More.
Yeah.
It was the most dominant. It was the UCLA basketball under John Wooden, only longer.
Yeah.
It was John Wooden for about 5 or 10 more years. So what are you saying, that Iowa wrestling fans still haven't accepted that it's
are having trouble accepting that we're not on top anymore.
Now there's this perception, and the media is helping to fuel it. I mean, there's a lot of real positive spin for wrestling in the media. There's this perception that Iowa's narrowing the gap on Penn State, but I got to see it first. I mean,
well, that's it.
Because nobody out here ever writes about Penn State's recruiting classes and who they get,
which are better than ours.
But pretty much everyone that Iowa gets, Penn State has as good or better.
Well,
I mean, that's
right.
just the way it is. I hope they do. I want them to dislodge Penn State.
Of course.
I want Iowa to be back as the dominant force in wrestling. It's a lot more fun then, but I don't think it's going to happen this year. I think the thing is, Iowa does seem to be taking steps, but it better because Penn State's going nowhere as long as Cale Sanderson's the coach there. They're not going to slip much. Now they could have years where they're not just a complete dominant force, but they're never going to be average under Cale Sanderson.
I don't think so either. Well, just like Gable was never.
Yeah, Gable had a couple years in 88 or 89. They finished 5th or 6th. Sanderson's going to have those if he stays there long enough, but year in and year out, they're going to be one of the top 2 or 3 teams to beat every year. Right now,
for sure.
I mean, now I believe they've got all but one of their defending national champions returning.
Yes.
I mean, that's just the way it is. But, I mean, Iowa wrestling does seem to be getting – but like Richard, they always get good wrestling recruits. So it's just a matter of they're just going to have to do it. They're just going to have to go and do it, and we'll see. I mean, they did get 3 commitments yesterday, a kid from Arizona and then 2 brothers from Mason City. And so, I mean, that was a good day for wrestling. It's always a good day when you get recruits. I mean, you don't know what they're going to do, but just the process of getting the recruit, that's a victory in itself, the recruiting process. I mean, look at Iowa football. I know a lot of people, or not a lot, but I know some people who, the moment a kid commits, they kind of quit following him because they're just so into the recruiting process. You know, they prefer the recruiting.
I know what you mean.
You know, there's people out there.
They like the chase rather than the
chase rather than the catch. Yes, there's a lot of people like that, and that's partly why I think there's been some recruiting side.
I like the catch.
Yeah, I would prefer the catch. I mean, some people don't even pay attention to the chase.
There's so much speculation on the chase. It's better to just wait till they're caught.
And speaking of the chase, the Trace Jackson Davis is with Keon Brooks on his official to Indiana today and tomorrow.
Do you think they're both going to go to Indiana?
That's what John says, and most of the people I talk to who know about it more than I do say, if not there, Michigan State, if not there, UCLA. So, I mean, Iowa's in the 6.
Not for Keon Brooks, we're not.
No, not for Keon Brooks. I mean, they haven't come out and said we're a package deal.
No.
But there's been a lot of talk about them playing together, and Indiana's got scholarships for both. My guess would be Indiana. I mean, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they go to Indiana?
Yeah,
I mean, they're both
they
from there. New coach who seems to have a lot of enthusiasm, great tradition. And
getting great recruits.
God, you get Keon Brooks and Trace Jackson. They're different players. One's a small forward, the other's a power forward. And I guess that Romeo Langford will definitely go pro, but God, if he didn't, he plays a different position. They could have 3 of those guys in 2 years on the same team if Langford goes to college for 2 years. But everyone's saying he's a one and done. So
yeah, I think he probably is.
But no, my guess would be Indiana over Michigan State, because Michigan State is one of the Michigan State, Indiana, and UCLA are the 3 schools they're both considering still. So that we'll see. But I've never felt there was a lot written about Keon Brooks this summer. You remember that? Oh,
yeah.
Brand's right there. I just never took it serious, and I think sometimes I come across as being like a big downer, and I'm trying not to be. I'm just trying to be realistic.
He liked us enough to give us a visit.
And there's a lot of recruiting spin out there right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff being written that is not, I'm not going to say it's inaccurate, but it's kind of a reach and a stretch, and it's done for different reasons. It's done because I think some people want that to be the narrative, and it's done for attention, to get clicks and what have you. But the Keon Brooks stuff, he took that unofficial, but I've never given him much consideration to coming here. Just never have.
And I thought Jackson Davis maybe were a little higher up on the
2%, I give.
hierarchy.
Well, they're higher up enough to where he used one of his official visits on Iowa. You can't deny that. That's something. But I would be stunned if he picked Iowa over Michigan State, Indiana.
I would too.
I would be really surprised.
Got a little history with Patrick, which helps a little.
I think that's a part of it. And his dad and Fran was maybe the first school to offer him.
Yeah.
I remember Tyler doing a story on this kid early in his sophomore year after he got the scholarship offer.
Yeah.
So, and I think that always helps. Fran was in on him early, but it's just another one where it's just going to be tough, especially when you're dangling a 4-14 Big Ten record out in front of you. That has to impact things.
It does.
And there's just nothing you can do to change that. And This kid wants to.
Well, there's one thing you can't change the 4 and
Not with these
14,
guys.
but you can change the narrative to change it to.
We're going to play defense this year.
13 and 7 in the Big Ten this year is a lot easier to sell than 4 and 14.
Oh yeah, but unfortunately for Brooks and Jackson,
Right.
it won't matter because they plan to sign in November. It sounds
Right.
like, and the season will. So yeah, boy, if they went 13 and 7, Fran would be the coach of the year. That would be a 9. That would be what? That would be a 9-game improvement. Wow.
Hello.
Any Hawkeyes or Cyclones going to make any NBA rosters this year?
You mean the year after the year coming up, or?
Well, like where they're getting ready to go into training now.
Oh, okay. So you mean a year of call? Are you talking about the NBA training camps? I mean, there's no. Are you talking about like Jared Uthoff in that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it would be Jared Uthoff. I mean, I think Uthoff has an outside chance, but I don't see Peter making an NBA roster. I never have.
I don't see it.
I don't see it though. Iowa State, yeah. Burton, Deontay Burton,
Mm-hmm.
he's I believe on Oklahoma City's roster. I believe he's on there, and I believe what's his name, Monty Morris is on Denver's roster.
What about Niang?
Niang has
He's
been
G League, isn't he?
G League in it, but he signed a couple what are those 10
games?
I think he's got a
10
chance,
day.
but I think he's more like Utah. I think he's going to be close a lot, but never get anything consistent. But other than that, I can't think of anyone for Iowa. I mean, Peter's still trying, but I just have never thought Peter had the complete game in the defense to play in the NBA.
Is Marble done then?
I read where he's done pursuing the NBA,
Yeah.
but still playing professionally
Yes.
overseas. At least,
And Aaron White's still playing.
Aaron White's playing overseas,
Well, that's cool.
and I haven't seen anything from Aaron White giving me an indication that he's making the jump to the NBA. But no, I think Aaron's making some good money overseas.
Thank you.
So yeah, the best thing would be Jared Uthoff. I know he's still trying. I thought he was going to make. Was it Dallas? I thought he was going to make that roster. I was surprised he didn't, but it just shows you how tough it is. And Pete's still playing in the G League.
I watched him Jared play in some of those summer games, and he just didn't stand out.
No, he does not stand out. And to me, in those summer games, you have to stand out.
You have to.
If you're going to make one of the final spots on an NBA roster. It's just so hard.
And it's almost no fun to watch those games because you see 10 people on the floor that are desperately trying to do just that.
No, you're right.
And it's just not very good.
No,
basketball
I would
to watch.
imagine it's not. It's like, look at me when I got the ball.
But Aaron White, pretty much, the moment he realized he wasn't going to make the Wizards roster, he went overseas, found a place that he likes, and I think
he's excelling.
He's excelling, and my guess is he's making pretty good money.
Yeah.
You could make pretty good money over there.
Good for him.
I mean, Andre Woolridge did that for years. But no, I think Monty Morris and Burton, I think is it Deontay Burton? Yeah, Deontay Burton.
Yeah.
I think they both are on rosters. God, it's hard to believe NBA's going to be starting here soon. Camps have opened up.
And boy, you talk about a long ass season.
Oh.
There's getting ready to go now, and they play into June.
But think about hockey. Does hockey even take a break? What do they get, like 2 weeks off? Hockey goes on forever.
They're pretty much like basketball.
I think all the sports are too long, to be honest.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
think they're all just way too long. But you got to do it. I mean, it's all driven by money and what have you. I get that.
Well, they went from 16 teams in the major leagues to 32. They doubled the teams. So playoff money is good money. Back in the day, this would be the last weekend of the season. They would take a few days off, and the World Series would be going.
That's right.
And it'd be done by the 15th of October.
I liked the expanded playoffs, but there was also something pretty neat about you had to win your division to make the playoff.
Yeah.
Imagine what we'd be going through right now with the Cubs and the Brewers.
Oh, it'd be awesome.
Oh, it'd be fever pitch.
It'd be nerve-wracking, and it's still nerve-wracking, but okay, even if we don't win the division, we're still in the playoffs. You know that?
Right.
There's still that to fall back on right now, and that's kind of how I look at that. But, boy, if they were going for that division and that was it, this would be really intense.
Well, just think about...
So the Cardinals, that's where the Cardinals are at.
Right, and think about the Cubs in 2015, because the three best teams in the major leagues were the Pirates, the Cardinals, and the Cubs. And, back in the day, only one of those teams would have made it in.
Yeah.
I think maybe the Indians that year were awfully good.
Yeah. National League for sure.
Good. Yeah.
Kind of like the Red Sox. The Red Sox, I believe, have won 108 games.
My God, they're just
and you watch them not win the World Series. It wouldn't surprise me.
Well, you never know.
It's all about.
Remember when Seattle won 115 and they were out in the first round? Now I will say, you're going to have to hit pretty well. When you have Chris Sale, David Price, their starting pitching
are
is
unbelievable.
Yeah, and
everyone's an ace.
And winning at that well in Fenway Park is no easy feat.
No, that Evoldi guy, what's his name? There's another pitcher they have that's really good. So, but let's take the last 10 minutes. Iowa football. If you were to list your five, because I'm thinking about writing something like this, if you were to list five positives and 5 negatives about Iowa football right now after what you've seen in 4 games, what would your 5 positives be?
5 positives would be defensive line, tight ends. Nate Stanley is positive, I would say.
Yeah, I agree more with the first two.
Yeah.
Nate is a positive. He's not a negative.
The kicking game? Is it?
Well,
I mean, it's not super, but it's
the punting has been better than I expected. Racinos has been okay.
Yeah, I would say there's still some question marks there. I think the offensive line has been better than I thought.
Me too. That's one of the ones I would do.
And then one more. I'll say our running backs have been positive.
See, I thought about this last night. Number one, of course, would be the defensive line, just how dominant it's been and good at pressuring the quarterback. Another one for me would be depth at running back.
Yeah.
I mean, they've already had a serious injury to where a guy had to miss 2 games early, and it didn't miss a beat. They've got 3 guys. None of them are superstars, but they're all pretty good in their own way. To me, that's been encouraging. That's what they need.
Well, it kind of reminds me of 2015.
Yeah, you could say that. And then tight ends, of course. Everyone's like, well, they've combined for 400 receive. I mean, the 2 tight ends have combined
they've been terrific.
They've been fine. It's just that the numbers aren't distributed the way fans think they should. Oh, we got to start using Fant more. Well, Hilkinson's having a great season largely because of Fant's presence. So and then I would do the offensive line too. I thought the offensive line against Wisconsin was way better than I thought it would be. And here's a little different one. I will put, because we're just going by the first 4 games, the schedule. I thought the schedule was very favorable.
Yeah.
And they're 3-1. I wish they would have taken advantage of it more, because if I do my 5 weaknesses, number 1 would be receivers. I just don't. I wrote
number 1 is receivers.
Number 2 is the schedule for me. They got 5 of 8 games on the road now. And I know the schedule is different because it's not actually part of the team.
I'll buy that.
But the schedule to me is a big concern going into.
Oh boy, so more negatives. You said wide receivers.
They were number 1. Schedule number 2.
Punt returns just from the last game.
Well, yeah, just special teams in general to me have been
a negative.
I mean, Rastetter is doing better, but Racinos has missed a couple. I mean, he's missed a couple field goals. I just think I've just been kind of underwhelmed with special teams.
But if our special teams had been even average against Wisconsin, we win that game pretty easily.
But they weren't. That's why I put them as a negative right now.
Absolutely.
I just think they got.
Okay, that's 3 negatives.
That's 3. It's hard to come up with 3 right now because they have not had a lot of adversity.
No, that's true.
I think red zone offense has been a problem.
Yeah, it has.
I mean, red zone offense, I
would give you that.
They just seem to be unable to sometimes continue doing what got them down there to be in scoring position. They seem to try to keep doing the same stuff, but sometimes it seems like when you get in the red zone, you have to change because you don't have as much field to work with. I mean, that's been another concern for me. And it is, though. It's hard coming up with 5 because I don't want to. To me, the linebackers haven't been a disappointment.
No,
they haven't been great. But
I was thinking about them no, they really haven't been, because given the fact that they had almost no experience coming in, they would be probably closer to a positive than a negative, I would say.
But I'm not ready to call Nate Stanley. I don't know if Nate should be on, because if you look at Nate's stats, they're pretty ordinary right now. I mean, what's he got? 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, and
5 touchdowns.
He just hasn't been, to me. I wouldn't call him a positive, because
fair enough.
I expected a little. But for me, a lot of it's based on what I expect, and that's why I think this is what I wrote yesterday. Or for today, Brian Ferentz was talking about the receivers the other day, and he came out and said, "I think they've done a nice job." And I think, what's he talking about? You got to keep it in perspective. You got to put his words in their proper context. What he meant is the bar is not set near as high at wide receiver as it is at defensive end.
Or tight end.
Or tight end. So he's going to judge those guys a little differently and baby steps. And I think he's trying to build them up. What good would it have done for him to come out publicly and rip them?
Sure, and I think and they did play better the last couple games than they did.
He was not saying in any way that, wide receiver's a strength for us. I think he acknowledges that it's a weakness. But they've done a couple things, and I think you just got to kind of, you just have to put his words in their proper context, because people were surprised about him saying, how can he praise? Well, I tried to explain it. Each one of those positions is evaluated by these coaches on a case-by-case basis, and obviously they came into this season expecting more from their tight ends than they did their wide receivers. Now, the wide receivers, all of them, I looked it all up, they've combined for 390 receiving yards and 30 receptions and 1 touchdown in 4 games. That
ain't great.
That ain't great. But I didn't. I'm giving them a C+.
I didn't expect much more than that.
I expected more. That's why I'm not giving them a B or an A. But I didn't expect anything incredible. But I did expect more than 1 touchdown after 4 games. That's pretty incredible when you think about it.
If you look at what Nate Stanley did last year against Wisconsin compared to this year,
that's a positive.
Huge positive.
That's a positive.
But their defense isn't what it was.
And if you look at what he did against Iowa State last year and Iowa State this year, that's a negative. So that's my thing with Stanley. To me, you could put Stanley on both lists.
Fair enough.
You really could. I mean, Stanley's one of those guys that seems like some people think he's a lot better than others, and others think he's because I've seen some people in the media wrote about how he just played great last week. I don't think he played great. I thought he played okay. Great seems a little strong.
Well, when we had to move the ball, we didn't. So you can place the blame wherever you want to if you have to place blame somewhere. But we had a couple of chances where if we keep our offense on the field, then Wisconsin doesn't get the chance.
And one of those, the big overthrow to Hawkinson, that was a big play.
Absolutely.
But it is a lot easier to come up with 5 positives right now.
It is.
It is, but the team's 3-1, and they've played a pretty favorable schedule so far. I think the schedule's the story in the second half of the season. Their schedule sucks. 5 out of 8 games on the road.
No, it's going to be a challenge. And
with no breaks.
Yeah, it'll be a real challenge. I hope they enjoy their bye week.
And I'm sure
get all healed up.
I think this bye week kind of comes at a good time. I would
totally
almost
agree with you.
But I would rather have played the Minnesota game than take a bye week. Because I think under any circumstance they're going to win this game. I would much rather have had a Big Ten victory wrapped up, some positive momentum going into a bye week, and then only 7 games left. And what would that be? 4 on the road. To me, if the bye week would have been 1 week later, I think it would have been beneficial. But this is all ifs, ands, and buts. And
the old boat rower's got a week off, too.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that's enough time to go out and get a quarterback.
No.
He's got issues.
Isn't.
Like I said, if they lose – I was disappointed that they lost to Wisconsin, but if they lose to Minnesota, I'm sure you'll be disappointed and pissed, won't you?
They're not a good football team.
They don't have any business losing to Minnesota this year.
I couldn't agree more.
And Kirk would cringe if he heard that, but we're not one of the coaches. We're not one of the players. We can think that way. There's no reason they should lose to Minnesota.
No.
Minnesota went out and showed its true colors at Maryland. They just were terrible. But no, I think the bye week, like I said, it's going to be weird coming in here tomorrow morning and then not having anything to do afterwards. That's just different.
Watch other teams, yeah. Well, I have my brother-in-law's in town, so we'll
spend some time with him.
Is he a big
sports fan?
Yeah. His wife's an Alabama girl, so...
Oh, tell her that Nick Saban sucks. And she'll be like, yeah, if Suckin's winning...
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, 6 national championships, I'll take that kind of Suckin. No, he's just a mean, crusty, miserable human being, wouldn't you say?
Yes, I would.
So do you talk to them much about Alabama football when they're up here?
No, I don't.
And they're not big...
I don't like Alabama football.
Yeah, why rile them up?
No.
Are they big Alabama football fans?
She is.
She is, okay. So.
And Paul's a big Hawkeye fan, but, to keep peace in the family, when Bama plays, he'll put on a T-shirt. And
would you like Iowa to play Alabama in a preseason game? Non-conference?
Not at all.
I wouldn't either, because they'd lose by...
And there'd be injuries. And
it would do no good.
Unless you play it in Kinnick, yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
And they'd still lose.
Yes.
And then fans after... Okay, let's say they bring Alabama up here for a game. They lose 31-10. What would be the reaction on social media? I don't know why we play this game when we could just play Iowa State and at least have
time
a 50%.
To overhaul the program. Blah,
would there be a negative?
Well, they're not going to win a damn game.
There would be a lot of that. I mean, because that's what I get a lot of this from people. Why can't we get Alabama or Notre Dame to do a home and away? And
well, they almost got one with Notre Dame, or they were at least talking about it, but they couldn't get a hiatus on the Iowa State thing.
But the thing is, too, if you do that, the fans are going to be pissed when they lose that game.
Absolutely.
And
you're not going to hear me. I don't want to play huge Power 5 teams
and have to play Iowa State.
I mean, no, I don't want to do it.
Especially now that they're playing a 9-game conference schedule. I mean, 10 Power 5 teams to me.
See, it's going to be awful. Can be awful hard to get to your nuts.
No, you're right.
Sometimes.
You're right about that. So, all right. Well,
pretty solid show. I would
killed
say.
90 minutes pretty fast.
I would say so.
Now it's back. What's going on?
Other than the politics at the beginning.
Hey, they're still arguing.
Oh yeah. In case we'll catch you right up. The Democrats are railing against the Republicans.
Wow. Are you serious?
What?
They don't agree?
And calling it all a conspiracy.
Wow.
The Republicans are saying that the Democrats are just
demigods, troublemakers.
Don't need to even be on the earth anymore.
No.
So we'll have a recap when it's all over.
All right. Well, anyway, thanks, everybody, for listening. AllHawkeyes.com. Get your subscription today.
At Deary Ford, we want to be here for you.
Patrick Eads, General Manager.
Here for your questions.